Hey, everybody, and welcome to my latest live stream. This is my review of The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is based off of an actual case by the Warrens, as usual. And this one is probably one of the more specifically scary, terrifying ones because someone actually died and was murdered. It's based off the Arnie Cheyenne Johnson case that happened in the early 80s. And it was the first case of demonic possession being used as a defense in a murder investigation, murder trial, which is pretty out there. And as you know, again, the Warrens stood by Arnie Johnson, who was actually jailed for the murder of his fiance's landlord. And what had led up to this and why the Warrens were involved initially was because Arnie was involved with an exorcism that they were performing on a young boy. And that boy was David Glatzel. And David was a young boy, very innocent. And during the exorcism, according to the accounts, Arnie decided to invite the demon in. And that's where this led to. It's a really terrifying case, and it's a great fodder for a film. The difference here is within the Conjuring universe and within these movies, this is the first time that there was an actual death, like an actual person lost their life during the account and the story that's happening. And so it had to be held, kid gloves with this. I absolutely love this movie. It's uneven in parts, but what I really loved about it was the fact not only was it creepy, it was very creepy. There's of course your typical jump scares that you'll expect in a Conjuring film, but again, it's one of those things where the Conjuring movies have a really great way of using just basic, not snazzy special effects, like old school creep is really what drives these movies. They're not big giant budget when it comes to the special effects department, and that's because the sound, the editing, the acting, the basis of the story is enough to propel you into a mindset for the horror that you're going to witness. And this movie is more about Ed and Lorraine than any of the others. And it really talks about their relationship. As Patrick Wilson stated, we don't know how they were behind closed doors, but their versions of Ed and Lorraine are very much in love, very much supportive of one another. And they're basically, and what I really like about these movies, and especially Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, they're basically our modern day Van Helsings. And it's one of those things kind of like it doesn't happen often. But in this case, just like you have with Evil Dead, your hero has become the star, not the monster. You've got your Freddys, you've got your Jasons, you got your Leatherface. Everybody knows the bad guys. But in these films, it's the good guys that are really the core and the heart of it and what people come to see, at least with me. And not that I don't love Annabelle, don't that I love The Nun, but you go for these two really amazing people, how they've been created and written, and they based off of these true to life people, and it's their light against this darkness, and that is really what the core of this film is about. It parallels within the relationship between Arnie and his fiance in the film too, because she's it's really, I'm looking up the name because I'm blanking on the name of the I believe it's Debbie, and these two characters, Arnie and Debbie, are fighting for one another, and it's kind of mirrored in Lorraine and Ed and what they go through in this as well. Because they're fighting for one another to keep each other safe, to keep each other alive, and to fight against this evil that is threatening them. And it's really well done. I really like that parallel. Michael Shaves is the man who directed this one. He did La Lorna, and he has a really great visual eye. And what he did within this movie is really awesome. And I asked him about it. If you go back to the my coverage of this for horrorhound.com, you'll see where we spoke about the filming of this movie and how it's a real homage to previous works. Like there's a flat out exorcist scene in the beginning, and it's just a big old recreation of the movie poster for The Exorcist. And the first, it's not, this isn't a spoiler. I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible. But the first 11 minutes, I think, were released, and you get to see that really fantastic exorcism scene with the little boy contorting. And that was actually a real young girl that they superimposed his face on, who was able to do those movements. That was an actual person doing that. And it just really fantastically done. Very creepy, terrifying stuff. And he also did other nods. Like if you look within and watch throughout the movie, you'll see Easter eggs and little things and nods to other movies. There's a huge amount, to me at least, and I called him out on it because I'm like, did you do that? Of The Shining, which you'll see within it. There's a lot of The Shining in here. But it's just a really beautifully made movie. And I really can't stress enough how much I just love Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson as Ed and Lorraine. It's just so good. And this movie really, like I said, it pushes their relationship to the fore. It's not a haunted house movie. It's more of a procedural film because it's not a haunted house. It's a haunted soul. And that person is in prison, and they're trying to figure out what caused this and why it's happening. And there's just some really, Michael Shaves really does some really magic stuff with, going, the descent into evil is represented throughout. He said to me that he wanted Ed and Lorraine to go to hell. He wanted to take them to hell. And within the film, you'll see that that's a big integral part of, you'll when you watch it, you'll see that there's just a lot of going down in terms of walking and going downstairs and camera angles. And it's just going deeper and deeper until they find themselves in the pit, basically. So it's a really fantastic way of representing that. And just taking these two beacons of goodness and purity and love and pitting them against the darkest, most vile thing you can imagine. A lot of things happen that are based on reality that they've interspersed into this, besides the murder investigation, the actual murder, the trial. They work in things that happen to Ed in real life that really play a key role in this. But Vera Farmiga, man, she rises to this movie. And Lorraine is, typically she's kind of like protected by Ed. And in this, it's kind of switched for a bit. And just really two strong, good actors doing what they do best. And yes, there are parts of it that go on too long. There's some uneven aspects to it. So I would have liked more. I really love the investigating parts of this. I love getting more of the reality of what really happened. I like that part. So it kind of veers off a little bit because they're trying to fill the story and they're trying to fill the film. And, a trial isn't what a Conjuring movie is going to be known for. So it's kind of like, we'll go over here. They do talk about Lorraine's actual working with the police as a medium and a psychic on cases. That is explored. I would have liked more of that. That was really interesting. So hopefully, if we get more Conjuring films, which I'm sure we will, that will be explored more. Again, it's just a great, creepy flick. Just really well directed and really well acted. It goes on a little long in spots, as I said. It is a little bit uneven. And it's different because if you're going into this expecting what happened in the other films where it's, you're in one space, it's self-contained. This one isn't. And so it goes out a little bit more further with these characters and puts them out in more locations. It's in the 80s, which is different because the previous films were set in like the 70s. This one, you've got nods to 80s music. You've got nods to like Ronald Reagan as president. So that's going to be a little different too for people who are used to this being more, way more throwback. This is more of the current trend of 80s nostalgia that you'll get in there as well. Which, it happened in the 80s. So it's not pandering as much. The one thing that really creeped me out when I saw this, and will hopefully do the same for you because it's terrifying. The real stuff always gets to me, especially in possession stuff. I long story, people probably know if you've followed me at all that I have a thing about The Exorcist, and thanks to watching it when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I really got creeped out with the ending sequence, which is where they actually play the real audio of the actual exorcism that you see in the film, but it's the real audio, and it is chilling stuff, just super chilling stuff. I can't say enough about how, and on top of that, it actually shows you the images of the real people and those in the film, so you see how well cast this is, and just it adds another level to it when you realize this stuff really happened, especially with this case again because of the actual murder. But it's just chilling, and you hear the mother begging for her son to come out, and you hear the demon speaking, and you hear this voice, and it's just truly, truly chilling stuff. And that's one way of wrapping your movie up in a way that's can't really be topped. I asked Michael Shaves if anything had actually happened, because I've been on the sets of a couple of these films. I've been on the set of the Annabelle sequel. I was on the set of The Conjuring 2. And each film, and this happened with The Nun as well, they have a priest come in and bless the set. The Nun was probably one of the more extreme cases where something creepy happened. The second film, they had a speaker in the editing bay randomly catch on fire, and I got to see photos of that. The Nun, the director spoke about the fact that he actually saw 2 ghosts because they were filming in an actual place, convent with underground tunnels and caves in Romania. And he actually saw 2 figures that he thought were there when he was talking to them, and he turned around and they were gone, and there was no way they could have walked around him due to the enclosed area they were in. So with this film, Michael Shaves said that not really anything specifically supernatural happened, but they were able to get that audio and play it and keep it in the film and share that. So when the movie ends, stick around so you can hear this and be as creeped out as I was by it. Conjuring 2, or I'm sorry, Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Good movie. Not, I'm trying to think if it's my favorite of the three. I don't think so. The first one still holds a big old place in my heart because it just was a fantastic film, and opened the door to this universe. But this is a good one, and especially in regards, again, to Lorraine and Ed. You go deeper into their relationship. If you love their characters as much as I do, you're gonna really love this movie. So definitely, if you're a fan of these films, you're gonna enjoy it. It is dark, like in terms of lighting, it is very dark, but it's goes along with the feel of the film and what they're trying to convey. So again, The Conjuring 3, The Devil That Made Me Do It. It will be hitting, I believe it is, let me just double check here, June 4th. So in 3 days, it's going to be at your theater, and it will be on HBO Max for, I believe it's 31 days again. And definitely check it out. It's a very, I enjoyed it. It's a very good movie. Is it my favorite of the Conjuring universe? I still love the first one. First one's best. It's different, like I said, and it takes them out of their comfort zone. And I really enjoyed it though. So solid B+ for The Conjuring 3. Go check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Michael Shaves did a great job. See if you can spot all the little Easter egg bits that he sticks in there, because he does a lot, and I love that homage to the previous movies. He does a really good job with that. Again, Vera and Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are King Queen. Love you. There is a massive nod to Elvis again, because Patrick Wilson can't get around that Elvis. And yes, those are real sideburns. So are his own. So he let me pull on them. Anyway, thank you guys. I hope you enjoy the movie. I hope you stay safe. We're here. We made it. Hope you get vaccinated if you're not vaccinated already. So you can go to the theater, enjoy this movie, and be safe. Spread the word, not the virus. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.